everyone. So Lakers basketball is still a month away, and I am pumped, as I'm sure all of you are. The fact that the Lakers landed Christian Wood was that cherry on top of the Sunday, right? The Lakers already had a very well-built, versatile, sizable, just roster that could have contended even without Wood. But anytime you can add a 17-8 guy that can play multiple positions and be a big impact player is always a massive addition. And then on top of that, you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, only team that has two top 10 guys on that roster. You have plenty of depth to weather their inevitable time that they're going to miss, right? LeBron and AD are both going to miss 20 plus games this year. And this is a roster that I fully believe can win with or without LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Hopefully not together, right? But I do think if we played some of the teams in the league, obviously not like a Boston or Milwaukee or anything like that, but if we were playing like San Antonio or something like that, I actually think if LeBron and AD both set, I actually think we could beat some of those teams. But still, right? The beauty of having this roster is the ability to allow those two specifically to be well rested over the course of a season, be healthy, go into playoffs, and then go contend for this NBA championship. Now, as deep and talented as this roster is, you're not winning a chip without those two. But the fact that those two now have enough support to where it's not all on their shoulders. The last few years, it's all been Anthony Davis. It's all been LeBron James. Sometimes together. Sometimes, AD's out and LeBron's got to go drop a 30-point triple-double for us to just not even win, but stay in the game, right? And then Anthony Davis, like LeBron's out, and it's like Anthony Davis has to give us 35 and 15 for us not even necessarily win, but just stay in the game. And it's going to be nice to see just a very deep, talented roster contend and compete game in and game out. And my guess is that, we are one of the better, if not the best team in the entire league this year. But we did get a nice little scrimmage with some of the players on the Lakers roster. I was just like a little run through. The full video is, I'll link it down in the description below. It's like a 3-minute video of several of the Laker players, 3 of which are actually on the Lakers roster, and that was Jackson Hayes, Jared Vanderbilt, and Cam Reddish, and they were joined by Jalen Hood Schifino, who he's on the roster, but he's not really going to play. Should have phrased it as that, and then Hodge, who is on a 2-way. So the Lakers had a starting 5 of Jalen Hood Schifino, Hodge, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jackson Hayes team up to take on and just run a little scrimmage. Again, it's nothing like crazy. They're not over there doing any like crazy highlights or, going 110%. But it was cool just to kind of see some of these guys get a good workout, get a good sweat in, and really kind of just, work together. And look, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jackson Hayes specifically are 3 guys that are probably going to play. Cam Reddish, kind of have a little concern of him being the odd man out. I actually think it's very likely that he ends up being the odd man out, but he's just so versatile, right? He could play essentially 2 through 5 if you needed him to in a small ball lineup. He's got a 7'2" wingspan. So he's got the size, the athleticism, all of the tools and intangibles. He's a guy that I've wanted on the Lakers for years now. And the fact that the Lakers finally got him, I hope that they actually use him and utilize him, because he's a guy I would love to have on the Lakers long term. He's a guy that I hope is on the Lakers not just this year, but for the foreseeable future, right? He's still extremely young. He's young enough to have been drafted in this year's draft. He's a guy that, whether he eventually works his way up into the starting unit, whether he works his way into the bench role, whatever ends up happening, he's a guy that I really do think could have a real impact on this Lakers roster, hopefully now, but if not now, then in the future. Him and Max Christie are the 2 guys that the reports came out were like it's going to basically be between them, but that was also before the Christian Wood acquisition, right? And now that you got Christian Wood, does that kind of complicate things, right? Are you really going to run 11, 12 guys on your roster? Maybe. I don't think that would be the biggest issue ever, right? Again, kind of keep guys fluid, keep guys healthy, keep everyone's minutes low. But how many people are going to be committed to that, right? You got 5 or 6 guys that are probably expecting 30 plus minutes, and you got another 5 or 6 guys that are probably expecting 20 to 25 minutes. And so you got to kind of weather that. Now, obviously, again, there's going to be opportunity throughout the course of the season. As I mentioned earlier, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they're going to miss some time. When that happens, then that just gives more minutes to other guys. That also gives more of an opportunity for some of the guys that aren't playing much to now play much, or guys like, if Cam Reddish isn't playing, that gives him an opportunity to now maybe get some burn. Austin Reeves, if he gets a night off or a couple games off or whatever, D'Lo, any of these guys, right? That's the beauty, is that if there is hopefully nothing major, right? Knock on wood, hopefully no major injuries. But if there is a little sort of, knick-knack, guys got to miss a week or something like that, and you got like 3 games that week, it's nice that you have guys that can easily just step in and be as effective, if not more, than the guy that was out, right? Like, that's huge. There's very few teams that have that. The next man up mentality is a mentality that every team has, but there's a difference between like, okay, well, this starter's out, and we're bringing in a subpar version. It's like, no, like, if D'Lo's out or whatever, or AD's out, right? You're never going to replace AD, but you still got a guy in like Christian Wood who could start and go get you 25 if he gets the shot attempts, or a Rui Hachimura, who we've seen him go off for 30, right? Again, like, it's not necessarily like, oh, you're replacing a 1-for-1, but you're replacing, a player for, a B plus player, right? Like, there's not as big of a gap of the absence as it is on most teams, on most rosters. And also with like, Cam Reddish getting this run, he's playing alongside Jared Vanderbilt and Jackson Hayes, even Schifino, right? Schifino's on the roster, but again, I kind of lean towards I would be surprised if he sees the court. Now, maybe if like D'Lo and a Gabe Vincent is out, because like, let's say D'Lo's out, I don't think Schifino gets run. I just think they have Reeves play the point, because Reeves has wanted to play the point a lot, and the Lakers have made several reports of like, hey, we want to give Reeves that opportunity. So, but if like Gabe Vincent and D'Lo are out, or like D'Lo and Reeves are out for like a game or something, then I could maybe see Schifino. It's like, why not put the kid out there and see what he's got? That's something I could definitely see happening. But outside of him, again, Cam Reddish, Jared Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes are 3 guys that are going to be on the roster together, that are going to get playing time. Again, we'll see how Reddish goes. But they're also 3 guys that may actually end up sharing the court together at times. My guess is Darvin Ham throws different lineups, different looks, right? Especially early on. Early on is the time to experiment, right? Once you get post All-Star break, post, trade deadline and all that stuff, that's when it's time to start locking down, round out your rotation, start, fighting for whatever seeding you want, and making that push for the actual playoffs. And so early on, that's where you can kind of mix and match stuff and go, okay, well, what is a unit of like let's say D'Lo, Reddish, Vando, Wood and Hayes look like, or Rui and Hayes look like. And it's just nice to see these guys playing together and working together and building those relationships, building some of that chemistry, building some of those bonds and those friendships. I know it's just a pickup game. It's just a little scrimmage game that they're doing. But those are the things that, start building, those relationships and building those bonds and stuff. It's nice to see them kind of building on that. And I'm sure we're going to, as we move closer and closer to training camp and the NBA season, you're going to see more of these types of things. And then obviously we'll get all kinds of footage and stuff like that from training camp once training camp happens. But I don't know. I'm just pumped. I'm excited. I genuinely cannot wait to see what ends up happening this year. I truly believe this is one of, if not the best Lakers rosters we've had in a very long time. You know, I mean, I can't even think, like, maybe like 2010. This roster's deeper than the 2020 roster for sure. Obviously, there's things that go into it, like chemistry. Like that 2020 roster, their relationship was ridiculous. Their bond and their friendship and like just, I mean, they were, hanging out and having movie nights and they're on the sidelines having a party and stuff. Like it was just different, right? And not saying that they weren't deep. They were very deep as well. But you just look at this roster and it's just like it's ridiculous. It's like, how are you even able to build a roster this deep? Right? The roster that I kind of go back to is like I said, that like maybe 2010 roster. But I'm pumped. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What do you think of this footage? Again, the full video, if you want to see the full video, just small little clips I showed you in this video. If you want to see the full video, I'll link it down in the description. There's a couple like videos. Like I said, it's like 3.5 minutes, something like that. And then other people have posted like other little clips that aren't included in this video. So you can go check out the little thread and just kind of see some of the Lakers in action. But anyway, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comments.